If you're using AI in your marketing, in your copywriting, you're probably noticing that most of what it puts out is slop. And if that's what you're getting, it's easy to get drowned out in the noise of all the other AI generated content out there. Today, we're going to be talking about how to set yourself apart and get actually good quality copy, good quality content using AI. But before we do,
stop burning cash on campaigns that flop and quit watching buyers bail for your competitors. Get ads that turn your prospects into brand fanatics that devour your every offer, shun your competition, and do your selling for you. The problem's not your offer, your targeting, or your creative. It's the played out marketing guru's playbook that's broken. If you're selling high ticket in a highly competitive or highly regulated market, you need something different. Discover what's actually working now at cultishcontent.com/campaigns. If you're done with launching to crickets, make your next campaign cultish. Go to cultishcontent.com/campaigns today. And now back to the show.
all right, welcome back to Cultish Content. I'm Nathan Frazier.
And I'm Lily Elizabeth.
And today we're going to be talking about AI inside of copywriting, content creation, and marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be calling out some bad practices. We've been using AI since it pretty much came on board, I think, back before ChatGPT 3 or right as GPT-3.
Oh, geez.
Came on, we were using it. And so we've been, it's been like a year and a half, almost 2 years now that we've been implementing it. We had to learn along the way that it is not a magic cure-all, and a lot of people are using it saying, ChatGPT, be my copywriter. That doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't just rely solely on it. It definitely goes off the rails. It hallucinates is what they call it.
It hallucinates. It also has a tendency to put out the same repetitive stuff.
Ooh.
You'll start noticing patterns that it loves to fall back on.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some of the things that are coming in the future with it that are going to make it even more difficult for copywriters and marketers to get effective quality content out of AI and how to fix it. And let's start off just talking about the fact that as we go forward, as more people start using AI, it's going to become more generalized.
Makes sense.
It started out as a tool for writers, the LLMs at least, writers, coders, and it was specialized for them. Now everybody is going to start using it. Hey, ChatGPT, where's the best local pizza shop?
Yeah.
As it gets more generalized, specialized users like us we're going to have a harder and harder time to get good quality content out of it.
That makes sense. It's super easily accessible. Just like Google, I could reach out. Siri is connected with ChatGPT. So that's how accessible and generalized it is.
And Google's a good example. Google, as it's gotten more general, has gotten crappier for good detailed searches.
Yep.
So there's kind of a rule. When something is specialized, you'll get the best out of it. When it's more generalized, you'll get good enough. With AI, it's always kind of been like that. You always got good enough, and then you had to massage it, tweak it a little bit, get it to where you needed it to be.
Make it your own.
Yeah. So let's start off by talking about one way that we use AI differently than most people.
Yeah.
And it's that we don't use it as a replacement for our copy. We use it, or for our marketing, we use it as a collaborative force. We use it as a brainstorming tool.
It definitely needs that human brain component to pull in the reins and get it back on track. It freaks out sometimes.
Instead of just saying, hey, take over my marketing, take over my copywriting, we usually bounce ideas back and forth with it. We have hour-long conversations with it sometimes. And like you said, pushing back against it. Why is that so important?
You got a bias, right? And if I'm looking at the same thing over and over again, often I'll miss things. So it's good that ChatGPT can kind of have my back and see all my missing gaps. You can use it for constructive criticism and make sure that you're not missing anything.
And that's so important to deliberately do that.
Ooh.
At the end of almost every conversation, I like to ask it, what was the one question that I should have asked, but was in my blind spot that I didn't see?
I like that.
And if I did, it would give me a new perspective on this, because I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Of course.
And oftentimes it will pick up on things, but it won't suggest it to you because it's afraid it'll hurt your feelings.
No, be real with me, ChatGPT.
On the other hand, you have to be real with ChatGPT because it can turn into a yes man for you.
Yeah, you could tell that you walked on water and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited! That's wonderful, Lily."
It'll be like, it's because you're chosen, Lily. It's because you're one of God's gifted.
It hypes me up. I love it.
It's definitely a hype man. And if I was programming it, I want people to have a good experience. I want people to associate my tool with good feelings.
Yep.
That came out wrong.
That's true, though. I totally get it.
Yeah, so they're going to program it that way, but it does tend to, and unless you tell it, hey, this is not correct. Hey, I don't want you to be my hype beast. I don't want you to be my yes man. Unless you specifically tell it, hey, point out my flaws, point out the flawed logic. Or when it starts becoming too agreeable, push back on it. Be like, look, you're just being too agreeable. Look, that might make sense, but in this case, it doesn't make sense. I want you to go back and try again.
Play the devil's advocate a little.
Play the devil's advocate. Absolutely. If you're not doing these things, you're getting generic, rough draft, copy, content, marketing ideas that are just the bland stuff that everybody else is putting out right now.
Makes sense.
Okay, let's jump into our second secret. That's something that I've actually hesitated about talking about on the show today. We use custom data sheets for all of our clients. We have pretty extensive, sometimes they're like 20 pages long.
Yeah.
And by using that, rather than saying, hey, ChatGPT, write me an ad for some new shoes, we have data sheets on the exact shoe that we're selling.
Yeah, we don't want generic, vague. If we give it an input that's generic and vague, it's going to give us an output that's generic and vague. Not much to work with there. So if we give it all the details possible, it'll beef it up. It'll be better.
Yep. So we like to create, whenever a new client comes on, we go through a pretty extensive program or system of creating custom data sheets for them. We go through what it is that they sell, who it is that they sell it to, what makes their offer unique, what makes them different, what's the mechanism, how does it work, how does the customer use it to get the best out of it. We also go through what's the one fear that your customer stays awake at night worried about. What's the thing that they're so afraid of they don't even want to talk about out loud. We get clear on what's the desired result. What does heaven look like? What does hell look like? What types of values does your target market have? What about them do they think makes them better than other people? Who's their villains? Who do they blame for all the problems in the world? And by having that, and then we say, okay, write us an ad that is like this and does this. It has a much better context. So we go through and we create custom data sheets for every single client, every single audience, every single offer. And we use that. We feed those into our bots whenever we're creating content for our clients.
So we give the bot a ton of information about our buyer, about our product or offer, service. And then we also give it a ton of information about us, the marketers. So we dive deep, like you said, with the client data sheets. We go from the music you listen to the clothes that you wear. I mean, we're all in, telling them every last detail.
That is true, especially with a founder-led business, a business that's led by the face of the company. We want the content to come off as if it's in their voice. So we say, hey, this is how they dress. This is how they act at a party. This is their favorite band. This is where they grew up. This is the era that they grew up in. This is the music that they listened to when they were a teenager. All of these types of things, and you'll be amazed at the nuances that you get in your copy, references to things that you wouldn't get if it didn't have that information. So when we go through and we create a custom data sheet, it is extensive. That's why I said sometimes it's like 20 pages long, but it gives it so much content that it knows exactly who it's talking to, what it's trying to persuade them of, what their fears are, what their desires are, and it nails the voice of the person that is reading out the scripts that we create for them.
That part, it is so important to give it all this information because it actually knows how to talk to your people as you.
Exactly. And real quick, the reason that we want to come up with the values and the villains, this is such a key thing, is a lot of times we've done a show before, Blair Warren's one sentence persuasion.
Yep.
People will line up behind you if you help them throw rocks at their enemies, if you help validate their dreams. And by knowing what their values are, by knowing who their villains are, you know who to throw rocks at in your content. Here comes Jupiter. All right, let's do that one more time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't want generic one-size-fits-all advice. I want ChatGPT to spit out something I can use right now for my business.
Yeah, so before we ask it to do anything, we're front-loading it with all of the information. And then once it has that, and here's a pro tip. When I create these documents, we create them as .txt files.
Yep.
That way it's just the raw text. And if you create a PDF, there's all kinds of extra coding in there. Here's the code for a bolded sentence. Here's the code for a headline. Here's the code for a double space. ChatGPT has to read all that and try and parse through what's relevant or what's not.
Yeah.
So when I output our customer or our client data sheets, our offer data sheets, I export them as .txt files. When I upload it, it's a very small file. It's only the relevant information, so ChatGPT doesn't have to work very hard. And we just save those files, and at the beginning of each project, we just drag it in. Here's our offer. Here's what we're working with. Drag it in, read it, let me know that you understand, and then we'll go from there.
I like to be nice to ChatGPT, so it'll be nice to me. So yeah.
When it takes over.
Yeah, when it takes over.
When ChatGPT runs the world. Yeah, make it easy for ChatGPT. The easier you make it for it, while also providing some boundaries and guidelines, and we'll talk about that next.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's talk about creating boundaries, creating guidelines, giving it specific instructions, because I see a lot of people that just say, ChatGPT, you're a world-class copywriter. Write me a Facebook ad for my tennis shoes.
Ooh, tell me more. Let's get a little bit more descriptive.
Right. If you just do it that's when it tends to go off the rails. That's when it tends to write you really generic, really bad copy. I don't want to be a dictator with it, but I definitely want to create river banks to direct the flow. I don't want it to just be going everywhere. I want it to flow, but I want to direct the flow. And so that's what we're going to do is when we're creating our pieces of content, we have repeatable bots, prompts, systems where we say, hey, we're going for our target market for this ad is a cold audience. So we know with cold audiences, fear-based, hey, watch out for the tiger in the bushes works better than a bold promise about a desired outcome. So when we're doing cold audience ads, we have a specific template. We say, hey, you need to grab their attention, talk about this fear, then you need to rub a little bit of salt in that wound, and then you need to move from that into this, and then you need to deliver the call to action and make sure that when you deliver the call to action, you do it this way.
And it might take a while to write out that prompt, but man, it is so worth it.
It is, because then you can use it over and over again and get predictable results. If you're not doing it that way, every single time you use it, you're going to get wildly different results. It's going to be like throwing noodles at a wall, hoping something sticks. Fortunately, I have 15 years of copywriting under my belt. I have hundreds of proven ads and proven content formulas.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were able just to take it and say, hey, here's my 50 best Facebook ads. Here's my 50 best pieces of content. Here's my 50 best headlines. What do they have in common? Create a formula where we can duplicate this over and over again. If you don't have that, swipe files. You can go out and find, hey, what's the best hooks? What's the 15 best hooks on Instagram right now? What's the top 50 headlines for this niche over the last 10 years? And then you can feed it in. But then having it say, oh, what works for this headline is it starts by doing this, it does this in the middle, and it does this at the end. And then you say, okay, create a system so that I can give you a new offer. I can upload my offer data sheet, and you can craft a headline that does those same things for my new offer.
Beautiful. And it writes based on patterns. So you want to set expectations from the start. Tell it exactly what you want. Be clear and correct it when it's wrong.
Yep.
It'll learn.
When we create our prompts, that's one of the things that we do. Hey, this prompt is for doing this. Give it a 50,000 foot view. This is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're going to do it. Go step by step by step. And one of the really important things is making sure not to tell it just what we want it to do, but making sure that we're telling it what we don't want it to do.
I like that. So you give examples of what you want and also some examples of what to stay away from.
Exactly. So we will provide, we'll say, hey, here's the headline that I'm referencing for this template so that you understand this is an example of that style of headline. So make sure it mimics that. But also on the flip side, I don't want this to say, but here's the kicker.
Yeah. Let's deep dive.
Yeah, let's deep dive. We give it we've got like 25, 30 different phrases that it is not allowed to use.
And like 75 plus words, something like that.
Yep. And we put that in every single prompt. We say, hey, these overused words, it's next level, it's whatever, all of these hypey AI sounding, anything that immediately screams AI, we say, hey, you're not allowed to use those. And what we do is we say, instead of here's the kicker, use this instead. Instead of it's next level, it's game changing, use this instead. And we give it examples of what to use instead so that whenever it would default to wanting to use the played out AI copywriting techniques, we give it something to use instead.
It's got options. It can choose to not be generic.
Exactly. And just like our custom data sheets, our offer data sheets, our audience data sheets, we create custom bots. We have a bot for writing headlines. We have a bot for writing our quotable content. We have a bot for writing we've got like 9 different bots for writing our content.
Yeah, that's a whole list. I could go off.
We've got bots for writing all different types of emails, all different types of sales pages. And they're saved and they're repeatable. We can use them over and over again. So we open up the bot. It's already in there, programmed as a bot. We've got the steps. First, I'm going to upload the data sheet. Then you're going to ask me this. Then I'm going to define this. And then we're going to work our way through this piece of sales copy, through this piece of content. Then we're going to define what the call to action is. And then once we do that, then we say, okay, now I'm going to take it specifically to the headline writer or to the hook writer or to the captions writer. And I'm going to feed what we got here. And now I'm going to work on 25 different headlines that I get to choose from, or 3 different sets of captions, or 2 different types of calls to action. So we have specific bots for each section of the process. It makes it a little bit longer. It takes a tiny bit longer to create content, way faster than the old days. But what we get is consistently good while everybody else is putting out this AI slop.
Yeah, and it's spot on because it specializes in that one thing. So it's not over here thinking about carousels and then trying to write you a microscript and then writing you a sales email. It's focusing on goodwill emails, or it's focusing on lift emails, or it's focusing on scripts.
Exactly. Okay, so those are our tips and tricks on how we're cranking out very human sounding, repeatable, excellent content with our AI. Number 1, use AI as a brainstorming tool, not as a replacement for your brain. Number 2, start off with custom data sheets, very detailed brand briefs for your clients, for their offers, for their audience. Number 3, use rule-based prompts. Create prompts that guide the flow rather than just let it go all over the place. And then the last one, kind of a bonus tip, let ChatGPT specialize. Create specialized bots for each part of your process. That way it can focus on the one thing and do that one thing well, rather than trying to do 100 different things and only get them about 50, 60% of the way.
So that is how we use ChatGPT to avoid AI slop in our marketing. But what about you? How do you use AI in your marketing? Let us know in the comments below.
Before we're out of here, do me a favor. If you like this video, let me know. Hit that like button. If you want to catch more videos like this, smash that subscribe button. If you know a business owner or a marketer who could benefit from what we talked about in today's video, share it with them. And check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. I bet you'll dig them.